I'd like to put the optimistic spin on this and say 2023 was crappy, and 2024 showing all the signs of being a better.
That goes against JVL's nature.
I know. Well, JVL's is good. I say it's better. We're getting better.
JVL doesn't like the idea that things could improve. He's always thinking about the worst case scenarios.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Bulwark's Next Level New Year's Extravaganza edition. I'm doing the hosting this week, Tim Miller, because I'm not feeling extravagandish. I am sick. We were taping this right before Christmas. I had a big week, and I was going to be alone in my home. You guys have no idea all the plans I had. There was a gay Christmas party I was going to go to. I was supposed to have lunch with Carvel today. I had work, and I'm just drinking tea and moaning in the bed. But I pulled it together for you guys. And I'm going to take the host chair so that you can carry me through this episode as we look back on 2023 and give our 2024 predictions. Does that sound nice?
Oh my God, JVL, we're going to get to talk so much. It's going to be amazing.
I love it how Tim thinks that like sitting in the host chair is the easy part. That's okay.
It's not about easy. It's about the number of words per minute. You know,
I'm just giving you the crap because you are strapping it on here, Tim. By which I mean your football helmet. And it makes me very happy and grateful to you.
And I'm just happy to be here with all of you. I would never leave you guys hanging. Okay. Before we do this, though, Sarah, your group, you have a political group that you do also. You're a woman with many hats. And you have an ad that you're running.
We decided to do like a Christmas gift for people.
Yeah, it's an ad on the Hallmark channel.
I thought of JVL, actually.
Hallmark channel, I think, is the key word here. It's on the Hallmark channel. Is it not?
It is indeed.
Okay, so tell us about that.
It is indeed. So I got this idea from JVL. I know his family watches a lot of like The Christmas Prince, I think is the name of a movie. And I just thought, okay, it's Christmas. What are people going to watch the most of? And get them when they're in kind of like a soft mood, you know? Just like they're ready to feel joy. And then we hit them hard every hour on the hour with our Trump is a wannabe dictator. This guy's running again. You guys got to wake up. Just like Pinochet, he's talking about shelving the Constitution. You know, we show historically how his trajectory follows other famous dictators. And it's it's burning up the twits right now.
Can we watch it together really quick?
Let's watch it together.
This isn't hyperbole.
A vote for Donald Trump may mean the last election that you ever get to vote in.
This is an exaggeration.
He's a threat to democracy.
This is Donald J. Trump. He was the 45th president of the United States. He caused an insurrection at the Capitol. And sorry to ruin your Christmas, but he's running again. This guy is openly running as a wannabe dictator. Trump said he would terminate the Constitution so he could be president again. Do you know who also did that? Mussolini, Chavez, Pinochet, all of them shelved their constitutions to centralize power. Trump is planning to purge tens of thousands of civil servants and replace them with loyalists. Authoritarian Viktor Orban used the same tactic to dismantle Hungary's democracy. Donald Trump's chances of winning are very real. The alarm is going off. Everyone needs to wake up. We have a choice between protecting our democracy or letting Trump destroy it. It's time to get off the sidelines. We can't let Donald Trump get close to the Oval Office again.
Merry fucking Christmas.
It's going to be fun for the Hallmark crowd. We're running it nationally too. We're also running it in some swing states. Trump has been doing so much talking about the dictator stuff, and it couldn't be more clear. And I get driven crazy by the way that he's taken the conversation around the dictator stuff and like leaned into it, right? Tries to normalize it. That is one of his special skills. And I feel like we're being lulled into a little bit of a stupor with Trump. And I did, also that's a Barry Rubin special. I should give
I like that the ad didn't include Hitler. I was sitting there as I was watching the first time. I was like, don't have Hitler. Don't have Hitler. And you didn't have Hitler.
So, I had a reporter reach out to say there's another dictator I could think of who consolidated power that's not in this ad. Like, any reason why? And my first response was like, so many dictators, got to cut for time, But, like, the truth is that I think, this is my honest thing on Hitler. Obviously, Trump, if you were going to compare him to Hitler, it is early days Hitler, right? But people, because we have a full historical context of Hitler, it doesn't hit people correctly. It seems like an overwrought comparison, and in fact, almost inappropriate considering what you know about what he did. And so I think that's a distraction, and I decided to axe it because it wasn't an early draft.
In 1935, people wouldn't have believed that Hitler would be Hitler.
That's right.
If you had in 1935 started talking about Hitler as if it was 1945, people would say, "What are you talking about? That's crazy. He's just a clown."
Right. I'm not saying that the comparison doesn't get more apt all the time, especially this week as he talks about poisoning the blood. But I just think from a persuasion standpoint, it's not.
I totally agree. And that was one of my things for 2023. Looking back, we had the first Next Level Sunday shows with Adam Brody, and he was maybe a little bit of a airhead, a lovable airhead that you just want to kiss. But he suggested Diary of a Man in Despair, which was one of the best things I read this year, which was on this point, which kind of followed somebody through the early Hitler era. Okay. Are we ready? Should we get on with it?
Yeah.
Let's do it. I've got a list of topics for you two. On a couple of them, I'll chime in when I have an answer that's better than yours. But if your answers are the best, we'll just let you take it. Are you ready? Question number 1. We're looking backwards. JVL's been so negative lately in the tryout. I've noticed.
Not today, big boy.
Not in the very last one. There've been several negative tryouts lately. So I want to look back on 2023. What's the best news? What was the thing that brought you the most optimism? What buoyed you the most in 2023?
Ooh, brought me the most optimism. I didn't have that context when I originally answered this.
Okay, best news then. It's fine.
I'm just going to do the thing that I think I was thinking about what made us the giddiest together.
Okay, great.
And it really was the humiliation of the bad guys. So, it was Kevin McCarthy, both the many, many rounds of voting for him to get in and then him being kicked out. That I think was just, it's enjoyable to watch people who carried water for Trump take it on the chin. Giuliani getting the huge judgment against him. That's a little bit of recency bias because that just happened. But Giuliani got blown up a little bit this year. And then even DeSantis melting down. Now, obviously, I wanted DeSantis to be a much better candidate than he was. I wanted him to be somebody who actually could have beaten Trump. But watching him become so Trumpy and make this horrible strategic mistake of trying to challenge Trump for the always Trump voters and debase himself frequently in the process, watching that turn into a total catastrophe for him did bring a decent amount of satisfaction. I recognize this is a Schadenfreude heavy choice, but that's the direction I wanted to go. I mean, I could talk about the S&P being up 25% and things like that, but I went for
Bad news for bad people is good. No, that's nice. Bad news for bad people. That's true. It was true in 2022, too. So we're on a nice little run on that front. Jonathan, Victor last.
The soft landing.
Talk happy.
We got a soft landing. This is, all year long. I was like, inflation's coming down. Economic growth, very robust. Wage growth finally passed inflationary growth. All the wage growth is led from the bottom. And I think it's now accepted. I saw Larry Summers, who the people who really wanted Biden to fail, they latched on hard to Larry Summers early because Summers was so pessimistic about what was going on. So he was their talisman when they went around waving Larry Summers's, prognostications. And Larry Summers just last week said, this has all turned out much better than anybody could possibly have thought that it would. And we got there. Household wealth up 37% for the median household over 3 years ago. Things are good. I'm sorry. They are. And that is amazing news, because if things were legitimately bad, like if we were in the recession, if unemployment was 6% or 7%, then we would be heading towards autocracy on a rocket sled, and we're not. So that's great.
Yeah, it's more like on a, what's a slower, like a little...
A rowboat.
A normal sled.
Yeah.
Just a flexible flyer. Right.
I thought about JVL today when I was doing some last-second shopping. I masked up. Walked in to a beeline into one store, the only time I've left the house all week. And the shelves were half empty. And I was thinking about you, and I was like, you could spin this either way, Either the economy's going so well that people are taking stuff off the shelves, or maybe Joe Biden just didn't do his job making sure we had the inventory we needed this Christmas for our last second shoppers.
I had an alternate version of this for my happy answer, which was that 2023 was it's kind of a rough year, honestly. Like the economy is starting to turn around now. Just hold on. Just hold your face for a second, JVL. Economy's starting to turn around now. I'm sorry, you may have noticed the horrible war in Gaza and Israel. And also, Ukraine has been in this long, protracted conflict. Biden's had very bad polls. But this, to me, strikes me as the perfect setup for a much better 2024. Like, if you're going to have your terrible year, have it this time, and hopefully going into 2024 we see things improve in Ukraine, we see things settle down in Israel. The economy is, voters are a lagging indicator, and as it gets back, consumer sentiment starts to come back. I'd like to put the optimistic spin on this and say 2023 was crappy, and 2024 showing all the signs of being a better.
That goes against JVL's nature.
I know. Well, JVL's is good. I say it's better. We're getting better.
JVL doesn't like the idea that things could improve. He's always thinking about the worst case scenarios.
Yeah,
I agree with all that. 2023, unfortunately, was really good to me. It's kind of tough. I'm in New Orleans. Life is good here. So 2023 has been good to me, and so I'm hoping that I can just send that energy to everybody else into 2024. Okay. I wanted to have some big Think 2024 questions at the end of the podcast, but let's start with just a little punditry, a little straight politics. Okay, so going first, JVL teased this on last week's episode. When do we think Ron DeSantis officially calls it quits? When won't we have Ron to kick around anymore?
JVL, I went first last time, JVL. What do you think?
2 days after Iowa. So if Iowa is, what is Iowa, the 15th or the 20th? It'll be 2 days after that, I think. He'll come in third in Iowa, probably, or a very, very weak second, and he'll give his speech. He won't do anything the day after because that looks really desperate, but he'll do the day after the day after.
I also had that he drops out after coming third in Iowa. I could see a world in which he drops out after coming fourth in New Hampshire, but I think he probably comes in. Did you guys see this news story today about how their ground game, which Never Back Down, has now moved the ad buying over to Right something, whatever pack.
Fight Right.
Fight Right pack, and they're just in charge of the ground game. But they hired all these ground folks, and some of them are Trump supporters, and are telling people that they're Trump supporters, and or aren't very enthusiastic. They're just paid flack, so it's not going that well.
Yeah, paid for play door knockers in a presidential race. Who would have ever predicted that was a bad idea? I can't think of anyone.
Question.
Yeah.
So he twists Kim Reynolds' arm to get her to endorse him, Ron DeSantis. If that doesn't happen, if she doesn't go out on a limb for him,
she already did.
No, I'm just saying wind the clock back.
Oh, okay.
Like in a world where counterfactual, where she doesn't do that, does he stay in to Iowa, or does he get out before the voting? Because I think that is the only thing keeping him in the race right now.
That she endorsed him? I don't know.
Yeah, and that he can't, if he sticks a knife in her like that, then he will not be able to count on anybody else ever supporting him ever again in his life.
I always thought he had to run through the tape in Iowa. I've never believed there was a world in which he dropped out before Iowa.
I think you can't underestimate the irrational exuberance and optimism sometimes inside campaigns of who, you're going to things, people are showing up, who knows? Like I told you, I was with the Vivek people. They thought they had a chance. I thought he was joking. It's like Ron's pulling 3x more than Vivek. So I think that probably they run through the tape. I'll take the over. If you guys have set the line on 2 days after Iowa, I think he stays in a little longer than that. Close call either way. Okay. Nikki Haley.
Do you think he makes it to New Hampshire?
I guess I would just say I think that I could see how they could convince themselves that it makes sense to. Okay. I think you guys picked a good. I think you picked a good day. Like that's a good. I think measure. Probably if I had to choose whether he stays in longer, or gets out earlier, I'd say he stays in longer.
One just last thing on this DeSantis deal. Do we think that right when he drops out, what do you think he does? Does he endorse Trump?
No.
Oh, really?
He waits. I mean, he will endorse Trump, but I don't think he endorses Trump right away. I think he sees if he can get something for his endorsement.
Okay.
And then ultimately he finds out that he can't, and he endorses anyway.
Yeah,
that's the most meatball Ron thing to do.
Yeah, he gets browbeat into endorsing him. You know, why haven't you endorsed him? All the internet personalities are making fun of him, and eventually he endorses him from the weakest position imaginable. That'd be my guess.
His staff, all of the Conservatism Inc. people that he bought out, like the Laura Loomers of the world, they endorse Trump first, and then he gets dragged into it eventually because he thinks, well, maybe if I play hard to get, Donald will make nice with me and, re-anoint me or blah, 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 and it won't happen.
Yeah, you think he's done? Do you think this is the last we see of Ron DeSantis?
I mean, until Casey runs, yes.
Yeah, I think Scott Walker is a nice future for him. Just the Scott Walker model. Sending petty tweets from time to time, eating ham sandwiches. Okay, Nikki Haley. Does she win one state? Uno.
I'm going to give her New Hampshire. I am. I'm going to, I got to run the bull case on Nikki for my own, I don't know, edification, my own needs. I'm going to give her New Hampshire.
I don't think she wins anything. I think that the momentum is not going to be because Nikki got a better than expected showing in Iowa. I think it's going to be that Trump dominates Iowa, and that gives him momentum going into New Hampshire. Here's what I think. I think Nikki Haley loses South Carolina, her home state, by more than 35 points. That's what I think is going to happen. And that's when she then gets out and immediately endorses Trump. Day after South Carolina.
That leads us kind of to the next question. But I would like to I'd like to show you this is why you keep VCs out of politics. This is why you wouldn't ask me for my opinion on what startup to invest in, and you shouldn't ask these guys what they think about politics. Okay. Keith Rabois has jumped on the Haley bandwagon. He's one of the Peter Thiel butt boys. He sent this tweet yesterday. For the record, Haley finishes second in Iowa, wins New Hampshire, wins South Carolina, and then Trump is toast. It's interesting. Then he
straightforward from there.
Yeah, then he followed that up with a chart showing Nikki Haley's poll numbers going up in New Hampshire with this is exactly what a successful startup's KPIs look like. Anyway.
Yay, so capitalism.
Capitalism
makes sure that the smartest people get the most money.
I did see that tweet, and I was trying to craft a quote tweet about pulling a JVL where I wanted to bet him like $10,000 against that because that's like my win-win, right? Because if it comes true, right, and I lose 10 grand, but like Nikki Haley is won and Donald Trump hasn't.
10 grand? Put 100 grand on that. Are you kidding?
Yeah, fading.
Bet your effing house on
that. I can't lose 100 grand. I can't lose 10 grand. But I was trying to think about something that's like a big enough number. But
do like they do in street racing. You run for pink slips. I'll sign the deed over to my house over to you if Nikki Haley is the nominee, and if Trump is the nominee, you sign the deed of your house over
Greece.
to me.
We're racing for pinks.
That's right.
Okay. On to the next question related to Nikki Haley. Who do you think will be Donald Trump's vice presidential selection in 2024?
Sarah, you want to go first, or do you want me to?
I've got them ranked. I've got my top three. And then I've got a dark horse. So I've got Noam as my top. I would give her the highest percentage. And then I've got Stefanik. No? You're just shaking your head.
Keep talking. No, I'm just thinking about it in my head. Keep talking. I'm picturing. Every time you say a name, I'm picturing.
My third one's Nancy Mace. And then my dark horse is actually Katie Britt. And my dark horse is actually the one that maybe I really think, like if, God forbid, somebody asked me my opinion of what he should do, I would take normie, but impressionable, young, and green, Katie Britt, whose husband is a football player out of central casting. That's who I would choose if
Katie
I were
Britt's
him.
your Haley stand-in here. Like for the people that want him to do
That's
Haley
right.
for the suburban women, but they can't because
That's right.
the base thinks that she's demonic.
But Katie Britt came out and endorsed him
Trump,
second.
and she's white.
Yep, that's right.
Two people you're forgetting, Sarah, are Tucker, who I think has to be on the short list. Trump will think hard about Tucker. I mean, I think this is a thing which will haunt Trump, and he'll think about it and think about it and think about it. Ultimately, I don't think he will because Tucker's like too famous to be his running mate. I think that ultimately hurts him. But the other guy, I think J.D. Vance. I understand that everybody wants to be a woman, and Trump probably wants it to be a woman. But also, Trump probably doesn't love the idea of having a woman with him. He probably thinks that looks weak. He's got J.D. Vance. J.D. Vance has lost the weight. He's got his Ozempic going. And Vance has really gotten on side. Trump Vance looks good, just sort of from a graphic design perspective together. Strong, and he broke JD. He loves breaking people.
Yeah.
Right?
I was going to chime in with JD. I don't think that there's any guarantee it's a woman. Jay and Carrie Lake is the other name I would admit. I need to actually do the research on this, but someone told me in Arizona that actually the Arizona filing deadline is weirdly late, like July or something. So if he did want Carrie, he could still pick her, and they could put in a different MAGA person in the Senate race.
Blake.
Like there still would be time for that Blake. Or Blake is actually this person suggested. I would hope that they could find somebody better than that. But anywho, okay.
Wait, can I argue my case here, though, on Katie
sure.
Britt just real quick? So the thing about J.D. Vance is that J.D. Vance doesn't get him anybody new.
Loyalty.
Right? Like, I do think Trump does understand that their only point of the VP is for an addition, right? He knows who he's hurting with. And I also just think his, the producer brain of him, the one that's always putting on a show, does think, like, I want it to be a woman or a black person. Like, I would, you could be wrong or you could be right about J.D. Vance. J.D. Vance, I actually think Trump would find that insufferable. Like, I think he wants somebody that's flashy, but not in his way, not more famous than him. I just think he will get sold hard and will see the merits of a very pretty young woman who has come on side hard and who has this husband who is a football player. He called them straight out of central casting when they came down to Mar-a-Lago. And to me, that's always Trump's kind of seal of approval.
Where are you on Nome?
So
I'm in no.
Oh, you're a no.
I think I'm very intrigued by your Brit float.
Yeah.
I don't know. Katie Noem has like a whole new face, and she's sleeping with Corey Lewandowski, and it's just, I don't know.
Trouble.
It's just too pat. Feels
Yeah.
trouble. I don't know. There's something about it. Just doesn't feel right.
So part of it to me is like that is trashy, and I just sometimes also like Trump is just very trashy.
That's true.
And so I don't know, but my dark horse that I've been, and I would say is like my team has sort of like we've all been watching Katie Britt hard.
I think that's an interesting float, Sarah. JVL, would you mind taking us to our ad read before we get to some real deep thinkers for what's ahead in 2024?
The Next Level is sponsored by BetterHelp. You know, whether or not your family buys gifts for each other during the holidays, gifting something to yourself is always beneficial this time of year. Whether it's something as small as going a little easier on yourself during the tough moments or treating yourself to some much-needed rest, it's important to take care of yourself. Adding therapy to your life can be a great way to gift yourself some self-love this season, as it can serve as a safe space amid all the craziness. It can help give you the support you need amid all the shenanigans, and even provide you with something to look forward to. Therapy is a great way to work through your issues so you can become the best version of yourself. It's improved my life and the lives of my friends and family around me, helping us all to deal with the world around us. If you want to give therapy a try, BetterHelp is a great option. It's completely online and was created to be convenient and flexible to your schedule. Just answer a brief questionnaire to be matched with a licensed therapist to start improving your mental health. In the season of giving, give yourself what you need with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/thenextlevel today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/thenextlevel. level.
No doubt we are all going to need some BetterHelp after all this time indoors with our extended family. Okay, next question, 2024. What do we got here? I would like to know what scares you the most about 2024.
Gas prices. I am concerned that it is August and the Saudis, who have some interest in having Trump in office, decide they're going to really throttle production and drive gas prices up. The increase in gas prices spooks the markets a little bit, and everybody runs around saying, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm paying $3.79 a gallon when I used to pay, $3.29 a gallon. And that this becomes a very, very shorthand, easy talking point for Trump. And it's something that Biden doesn't have a ton of control over. This is why it worries me, because this is a thing that foreign actors who may have an interest in Trump winning can partially control.
Sarah?
So I have a long list of things that are similar to JVL conditions, but they are not the thing. The thing I'm most scared of is Trump winning.
Yeah,
right.
I'm sorry.
Like, right. I know.
I thought this was like saying, like, we don't want to die.
Right. Yes. So the thing I'm most scared of is obviously Trump winning, and so like then the rest are all things that are conditions
so granting
that make that.
What are the top 2 or 3 conditions that scare you?
One right now that is really plaguing me is the idea of Nikki endorsing Trump, and I know you guys think that's like a fait accompli, but I think that if Nikki runs out the primary, becomes the champion of the normies, and then takes the capital that she's built with them and endorses Trump and creates that permission structure for them, I think that is very bad. Worry about that one. Okay. Second of all, the constitutional crisis.
Boom. That's going to happen. So if that scares you, then it's time to just...
Yeah. Well, so these are like, they're almost, they're not known unknowns, but they're like high probability things. It's like the oncoming constitutional crisis of prosecuting a sitting president, him being either being acquitted, also terrible, or convicted, and then having like all of us having to deal with the tension of prosecuting. So like,
or not acquitted. What if it's a hung jury?
Or not acquitting? No,
or
that's
if
what I
they
just
just
said.
kick the can all the way through till after November. None of it comes up.
So I'm pretty worried about us dealing with that situation one way or the other. And then it's the third party stuff, no labels, that we end up, we're looking at a tight race, but it's a fair shot one-on-one. And then you get, I don't know if you guys have been following their trajectory, but they were going to have this in-person convention, which is now going to be on Zoom because this is how they're going to choose their candidates. They are talking about doing a contested election play. There was a story where like a contingent election where they basically, if they could, they're just going to play to win enough states to kick it to Congress. I mean, it's like, it is Joe Perdiccone.
Do they understand who would win in
this is the
contested
thing.
election in Congress?
It looks like a straight up Trump scam, like a helpful Trump scam. And Joe Perdiccone had this great tweet about how it's like a bunch of high political science majors like got together and just like, thought about these like weird conditional things that they could, spend $70 million on to trigger. So unhelpful. So anyway, that's all scary to me.
Can I just say very quickly here, anybody who participates in this no labels malarkey should have their lives ruined.
Okay,
I don't mean that. I don't mean that they should have violence visited upon them, but I mean that they should become social pariahs. They should lose whatever jobs they might have. They should be kicked off of corporate boards. They should. No, I'm serious about this. Right? If you're a pollster working for no labels, you should never be employed again. You should not be able to go and get a table at Spago. This is really, really bad. And if people are going to act irresponsibly like this, they should be absolutely shamed to our society's utmost ability to shame.
Should we take this video clip and just kind of put it on the side of a van and play it outside of Mark Penn and Nancy Jacobson's apartment? How about that? That could be something we could do. Just JVL on the streets of New York. No,
am I wrong?
I like your moral clarity. Your guys' answers were all not nearly scary enough, though. And so I want anybody who's not prepared to get really scared, to just go ahead and press that fast forward 30 seconds button 3 times, and then we'll be over this. Okay, have you done that? All right. The scariest thing that could happen in 2024 is Joe Biden having a health event. And that's really the thing that scares me.
Oh, yeah, this is what I said last year. And I said Joe Biden dies was my worst case scenario prediction. You both went, oh.
Dies? No.
Sarah went so dark.
Even dies would have some upside. Like, I'm talking about like a stroke.
Yeah.
No, I think that's right.
Physical thing.
If he were to die, there would be a small upside to it, right? Depending on the timing of it.
Right, but if it's like something that incapacitates him briefly, and there's a question about whether, I mean, oh my God, okay, start breathing into a paper bag. All right, we're gonna change the subject. Uplift people.
Wait, can I take back my gas prices? Because the price of gas now seems really stupid as an answer to this.
Well, that's okay. You can't win them all, JVL. What is the thing that excites or enchants you the most about 2024?
Enchants?
Excites or enchants you the most about 2024? You can stick with excites if you want, but I wanted to throw enchants out there as an option.
Biden wins all of the same states that he won last time, but by larger margins, much more decisively, and we put Trump to bed in a way that is unquestionable. He could still say it's all, but like the margins are big, and there's no backsliding. Like we don't have to worry about Nevada or something like that. I can't think of another state he could pick up, potentially. I can only, like, as a plausible scenario.
North Carolina.
I think North Carolina is a little fool's goldy, but that is the next one on the list. It was on our list in 2020. It's off our list now. But he could win by larger margins.
Of Texas.
Oh, yeah, you think Biden could win Texas?
No.
This is
I'm just trying to enchant.
This is the thing I most would be most, that would enchant me.
JV, what's something that excites you about 2024?
Same thing, but it doesn't have to be bigger. It just has to be a clean win, right? And by a clean win, I mean a win that does not involve recounts and sort of muddied waters of, well, I don't know, just anything that we look at and can definitively say, yeah, he won.
But that's why it needs to be. That's why I want it to be bigger. I want it to.
It could be smaller.
Look more like a blowout.
Look, that would be even better. A Biden blowout.
You said
a Biden
enchanted.
landslide.
I get to enchant myself with this.
I'm saying that my standards for enchantment are much lower than yours, and I could be enchanted by just Biden breaks 50%. And he wins the 3 critical states by like 50,000 votes instead of 70,000 votes. And that would enchant me because that then sets in motion a whole bunch of stuff in Republican world that maybe make things worse, but maybe makes things better. Right. I mean, that would be popping the first marble in another gigantic Rube Goldberg machine. And it's not clear how that would end.
Something that would excite me is one person I do not expect doing the WWE thing where it's like, oh, that's George W. Bush's music, and coming out on stage with Joe Biden. I just want one of those. One person to not let me down. That would excite me. I'm not that optimistic. I'm about as optimistic about that as Sarah is about Nikki Haley doing the right thing.
Give me 3 people who you think it could be. Not that it's likely to be, but
I mean, I guess Dick Cheney would probably be the most likely person to do it.
Liz Cheney.
Liz doesn't count. I want someone and Dick almost doesn't even count.
How about
as
Chris
unexpected. Chris almost doesn't count as unexpected.
Count?
I want somebody fresh. Pence, and Dick Cheney, Schwarzenegger, W. Condi. That's kind of the world I'm thinking. That would excite me. I'm enchanted by the fact that I have a wedding in Portugal to go to next year. I'm going to start scouting land while I'm there also. So that's a double whammy. All right. Okay, we're coming to the end. I have a good one for this one. So I hope you guys are ready. I want a crazy prediction, something you think it's crazy that this might happen, but it might. It's a crazy, outlandish prediction. Sarah, would you like to go first?
Trump picks Don Jr. as his VP.
I don't think that's legal. Isn't that unconstitutional?
Is it? I don't know.
I believe that's unconstitutional. I'm not sure. We need a constitutional
or is the
scholar.
Constitution our limiting
That
factor
matters
now?
now.
Is that
Yeah, who's going to stop him? How's that going to work?
Junior 2024. Okay, that's possible. That's kind of close to mine, actually.
Trump 24?
JVL.
We have a constitutional crisis. I don't think this is crazy. I think it's likely, and I don't know which form it will be, but I think, likely to have a constitutional crisis again.
So, like, what? What is it? What would be the most acute version that you could foresee?
The most acute version, and Sarah and I talked about this a little bit on The Secret. The worst version would be the U.S. Supreme Court allows the Colorado Supreme Court ruling to stand, and Trump is removed from the ballot in Colorado. In retaliation, Texas removes Biden from the ballot in Texas because the chaos at the border represents an insurrection, and the Texas Supreme Court upholds that decision. And then Florida and Ron DeSantis, not to be outdone, try to remove Biden from their ballot. And what you get is you get a handful of blue states and a handful of red states which go and remove various candidates from the ballot, so that once the election concludes, there is no real way to adjudicate a winner that is going to please anything close to a large majority of the country.
And this is how
That,
No
to
Labels
me,
wins.
That's pretty close to my crazy
I don't
prediction.
think that's how
JV, I like that
No
our
Labels
darkness
wins,
is
but
going to
that's
the right
bad.
place. Okay, so here's my crazy prediction. Supreme Court upholds Colorado intentionally. That Roberts and Barrett and Kavanaugh get together over the holidays, and they're like, this is our chance to like get rid of this guy. Like, we're gonna do it. They uphold it. Trump is put off. And that what you suggest doesn't happen. That does seem possible, but a couple swing states do it. There are a couple swing states that are just run by Democrats, right? So it's at such a degree that Trump couldn't win, and so then there's a big momentum shift towards what, Nikki or DeSantis or Nikki, and then the voters and Trump and the MAGA media goes wild. And then that brings us back to Sarah's suggestion. Who would be a suitable replacement for Donald Trump on the ballot? Either his son or Tucker. And so
You know what, though?
we think that we get out of it. We think we get out of the woods.
Than Nikki winning the nomination on her own.
Oh, for sure.
Like outright.
Oh, clearly, I think that's more plausible. You
Don't
don't
you
think
think?
that that's more plausible?
I don't think it's more plausible that the Supreme Court upholds Colorado.
Okay, sure.
Because I think that is, I got to tell you, if I got to go on the record on something, it is that I think Colorado absolutely doesn't get upheld.
Okay, I agree
Honestly-
with that. I think it's pretty unlikely. I agree.
It's
as
so
well.
funny
are
how
unlikely.
you guys are like so weirdly optimistic on this one. Like you let yourself.
No. What I'm saying is, like, there's a 1 in 1,000 chance that the Supreme Court upholds Colorado, and a 1 in 10,000 chance that Nikki is able to win the nomination on her own. That's all.
And I
I'm
guess
saying
I'm
of these
lumping
two
that in
very
with
unlikely events.
other things that could happen to create a convention fight
Yeah.
that might yield a Trump Jr. or a Tucker
I
nomination.
will say this, though. If Nikki Haley wants to win the nomination, shouldn't she at some point stand up and say, hey, we should nominate a guy or gal who can be on the ballot no matter what, because they aren't being credibly accused of starting an insurrection? Shouldn't she say that, maybe, if she wants to win the nomination?
Yeah, she should.
No, I'm sorry. Ron DeSantis has said that really it was kind of unfair for him and Nikki. Said that in an interview with David Brody, because just these indictments happened. And it just created an unfair playing field. Because historically, when your opponent is indicted in 4 different jurisdictions over a crime spree that took place over multiple years on many different topics, that's something that harms your candidacy, because
Tim,
the people love
should Ron
that.
DeSantis, as he was the strategic genius he is, as he was gaming out his moves and planning, should he have been able to figure out that there was a very high chance that Donald Trump would be indicted in 2023?
Maybe.
I mean, does it seem like he was caught by surprise in all of this? Like, oh, I can't believe they indicted him.
It's just like the whole thing. All of these people are like this too. It's like these indictments. This is going to be where the anti-antis land next year, by the way. These indictments made it happen. We wouldn't have had Trump for the 3rd straight time if it wasn't for the indictments. The indictments were it's as if Donald Trump himself and the Republican Senate and the Republican leadership and there's none of those people had any agency. The only people with agency were the 4 district attorneys and the 4 grand juries, and they stuck us with them. Anyway.
I'm super excited to get blamed for Donald Trump being the nominee. Like, we are definitely...
the tweet that you sent about Ron DeSantis being bad, that was it. That was the thing. That was the caucus goers in Ottumwa were reading the Bulwark Twitter feed religiously. Okay, our final one. Do we have a New Year's resolution? Do you guys do New Year's resolutions? I've stopped doing them, but I'm starting again. I want to start back up. So I'm using this as an excuse to start back up. Sarah, okay. What New Year's resolution will you break in 2024?
So this is a true one. This is an earnest one, which is I want to do a dry January. I would like to, the thing about election years for me, so in 2020, like I vaped sometimes, I got a little, and it wasn't good. It's not good. Like I get stressed out and I've given up all my other, but still have some cocktails, and I just I would like to not. Did you hear my podcast with Tim Ryan? Tim Ryan's really been pushing MDMA and psilocybin.
Psilocybin, THC.
Yeah, I think I need to find.
So you're going to do a dry January. You're going to stop vaping, and you're going to start microdosing mushrooms.
It's been years. You
want to start microdosing mushrooms in January?
I don't want to do any of those things. No. Okay. I just cut down on the drinking. That's all. Okay. And I really want to do one of these dry Januaries that I've heard people talk about.
Dry January. All right, Sarah, that's a good
resolution.
Isn't
that the easiest thing in the world? Like dry, I do 6 months dry at a time, all the time, without even knowing it. Just don't have a drink.
You're just not somebody who likes cocktails, or you don't drink wine with dinner. But I really like to have wine with a nice meal. But I got to be sharp. I got to be as sharp as I can be.
I had a dry January too in 1993.
That's the thing. It might have been that long ago that I had a full month.
Jonathan V. Last, what is your New Year's resolution? You don't have one?
I hate. It's not that I don't like New Year's resolutions. I hate them. I think they're insipid. But you know what? Here, I'll make one. I'm going to work more in 2024. I'm going to cut out any time I spend on hobbies and pleasure and just plow it all back into work.
I find it...
That's a good resolution.
I find it bad that you don't find this to be pleasurable. This is right now, what we're doing right now is both work and I think a little play.
It's nourishing the soul.
I'm feeling playful. I'm definitely feeling playful. My New Year's resolution, in case you guys were wondering, is going to be I'm going to try Audible books this year. And this is why.
Oh, it's so good.
Because I love reading, but it's like it gets hard. When you have children, my times for reading now are also my times for sleeping.
Yes.
And so it's I open up a book at 11 o'clock at night, or I open up a book in an airplane, and I'm conked out 2 minutes later. And I read quite a few books. I read some good ones this year, but way fewer than I wanted. And, if I'm going to put out content output, you got to consume. And so I'm going to try Audible. And I feel like then on my car rides and stuff, I can do that. So I'm breaking into it.
Showering. I fill literally every minute of my day with audio content, and a lot of it is from Audible. And because everything then is productivity time. You're brushing your teeth, you're listening to a book.
Yeah, and I probably don't need to listen to
your thoughts.
Yeah, I probably don't need to listen to 3 Denver Nuggets podcasts. Maybe just one, and then spend the other time nourishing my mind by, listening to audiobooks about the Industrial Revolution or something, or Pinochet, or I don't know, the other dictators that Sarah is warning people about this holiday season on Hallmark. In between the gay Christmas movie, the gay Christmas romance, and people drinking their peppermint eggnog. Sarah's reminding people that dictators are coming.
Yeah.
Beware. Guys, I've just loved, one thing we didn't say before I close 2023 was really a great year for the Bulwark. I meant to say that at the start.
Yeah.
And all of you guys, we just appreciate you so much. The amount of people that have signed up for our email list has skyrocketed. The paid Bulwark Plus subscribers is up, almost doubled this year. Huge. We are so grateful. We're doing the YouTube stuff. That's crushing. All of our colleagues are like producing really great material. It was a great year. It was supposed to be an off year, not at the Bulwark. So thank you all for hanging around with us, and I appreciate the two of you.
I
Love
also
you, buddy.
appreciate the two of you.
Okay. Have a wonderful 2024, guys. We'll be back. No Secret Pod, no Sunday Next Level, but we will be back next Wednesday. 2024 will be here, and you'll be able to count on us every single week to give you the optimism and enchantment and joy and love that you deserve in the new year.